Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. My name is Sarah and I put out new bookish content every Thursday. I know I've been gone these last 3 Thursdays. I had surgery and it took a lot longer to recuperate than I thought. Get off my back. Let's get into my recent reads. Kicking off this video with probably the most disappointing book of this year. I don't know, we'll see, the year's not over. That is Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge. This one I had such high hopes for. It is another Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I heard that if I liked Aquatar, I would like this, but sadly, this was terrible. I gave this 1 star out of 5. If what I said earlier didn't click. In this book, we follow our main character, Nyx, who ever since she's been born has been betrothed to the demon ruler of her kingdom because of a deal that her dad struck with the demon ruler. Now that she's of age, she has to get married to him because that was part of the deal, and she has been preparing her whole life to be betrothed to him and then kill him so that she can be the ruler. While she's in the castle though, she falls in love with him. It has all the aspects of a good book that I normally like, but oh man, was this bad. There was info dumping, poor relationship development, and I don't know, it was just extremely repetitive. There were a lot of Greek and historical elements that the author tried to put into this book that would have worked, but since the book is so short and it's a standalone, there was just very poor development of those scenes and it just didn't work. I don't know. I didn't like it. I know a lot of people did enjoy this at least a little bit, but I struggled. I almost DNF'd it, but I didn't. So yeah, here's the first one. After that, I did finally pick up the Folk of the Air series. In this series, it is The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, and Queen of Nothing. Out of this series, I think Queen of Nothing was my favorite book. I think this is the one where you actually got to see the most of the Cardan and Jude relationship that was pitched to you in this book that you got nothing out of. This series is hard for me because while I loved the writing style of Holly Black and how really in depth and like you just feel very immersed in the fairy world in these books, I think I went into this series with such different hopes of a really strong enemies to lovers romance, and while it is there, it is very like slow burn. Like I'm telling you, like 3rd book slow burn. Like you the whole time you still think they hate each other. Like I don't even know. I finished the series and I'm still a little confused if they actually like each other or not. So I think that's why like I have mixed emotions about this, because I loved the story itself. I think it was a great story. I just think the way that I had it pictured in my head and how it was pitched to me, I just didn't get those vibes with it. So while I enjoyed it, it's definitely not one of my favorite series, but it's definitely one you should pick up if you like anything to do with the Fae world. After that, I picked up By Your Side by Casey West. I picked this up because I knew it was going to be a quick read and it's a light romance contemporary read in the YA genre. We follow our 2 main characters, Autumn and Dax, who get stuck in a library together over a long weekend. One is an outcast in high school while the other is like the popular girl. And so it's kind of that trope and their relationship starts to form from there. I gave this book 3.5 out of 5 stars because while this book is pitched to be like a cute book lover library read, the whole library scene was really only maybe a 1/3 of the book, maybe less. Like they really weren't in the library much of what I remember in this, and so that kind of bummed me. I really wanted to see more of their relationship develop while they were in the library, but it actually happened more while they were outside of the library. But other than that, it was a cute relationship book and something you can pick up and easily read. In these past 2 months, I also finished the entire Beautiful Bastard series by Christina Lauren. Absolutely love these books. Christina Lauren is probably one of my favorite authors. In this series, you have Beautiful Bastard, Beautiful Stranger, Beautiful Player, and Beautiful Secret. And there's also a bunch of novellas that go in between, but I only read like the major player ones. While I think every single one in this series is great, my favorite is probably Beautiful Player. I just liked the relationship the most in this one and how it all played out. If you didn't know, with this series, you don't need to read one to read the other. They're all completely different relationships that you follow, so you can only read this one if you want, or you can go from the start to the beginning like I did. The biggest thing I loved about these is it gets to the action quick. I love the relationship development, and they're not keeping you on the hook for long. So if there is a conflict or if there is a huge plot twist, the resolution doesn't take 5 chapters to get to there. You're getting to it quick. So it's just a read that you'll not want to put down. All of these I read within a day because they're just so hard to put down. So hard. Then I read another series this year that blew me away. I didn't expect it to like it as much as I did, but I do, and it's probably one of my favorite series now, up with ACOTAR, and that is the Caraval series. In this series, it's Caraval, Legendary, and Finale. For me personally, Finale is my favorite, and one I've already kind of reread once because I just love learning more about Legend and the relationship that is built in that book. So this is all about a magical moving around circus named Caraval that goes on for a week, and it's kind of like a game of like Clue where you're trying to figure out a mystery while being part of this magical world. And within this, you're also following 2 sisters that end up falling in love while in this circus, but they're not sure what is real and what is part of the act and what is magic. This definitely gave me Night Circus vibes, but I think it performed a lot better than Night Circus. So if you weren't a fan of Night Circus, I definitely recommend this series. I think you'll get what you were missing out of that book with these, because this is such a great story. And again, just pick it up. You will not regret it. It has everything you'll want. And then of course, because I can't stay away from smut for too long, I went back to another smutty series, which is the Bared to You series by Sylvia Day. In this, there are quite a few books, but like the 3 staple ones are Bared to You, Reflected in You, and Entwined with You. This is kind of like a spin-off of 50 Shades of Grey and definitely gave me that vibe without too much of the red room, I would say. It didn't have that kind of vibe. While it was a fun and easy read, I don't think I will continue on with the series. Actually, I know I won't. It kind of got boring once it got to the 3rd book. It was very predictable, and I don't know, I liked the characters in the beginning, but I kind of just got bored with them. So then I went into a standalone book, which was The Shadow Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. I gave this book 4.5 stars out of 5, and while I was reading this, it almost, the beginning reminded me again of the Cruel Beauty series, because it's about a girl who is part of a kingdom that has been under the Shadow King for so long, and she is trying to become his wife so that she can kill him, so that she can become the queen of her kingdom. So it kind of sounds familiar to Cruel Beauty, but this one was executed a lot better. I really did enjoy this book, and I definitely would recommend it, especially if you're being a YA fantasy romance read. I thought it handled the relationship really well, and the plot twist in this was one that I really wasn't expecting. So that also gave it some kudos for me, because I was like, oh wow, you pulled that one off. Moving on to another disappointing book this year, which I can't believe I didn't DNF, but I'm proud of myself for not DNFing, is A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. This one hurts to say because I have been hyping this book up for so long in my head. I've heard so many good things about it on TikTok and YouTube, and I was just so excited to read this. What makes me so mad about this book is that it's over 600 pages, and it just shouldn't be. I would say, I don't know, 60% of the book had some really intriguing scenes that made me want to continue the series, even while I was getting to the end. And even once I got to the end, I was like, part of me still wants to finish this series because I want to see what happens with these characters, but the amount of information dumping in this is so boring, and it gets incredibly scientific for no reason. Like, I understand that science was a big portion of this book, but to the extremity that it went to and the detail it went to, and then how it went into the historical aspects of it, like, I just don't think it needed to go that deep. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. But what redeemed that book was this beautiful duology by Renee Ahdieh, and that is The Wrath and the Dawn, which with the sequel is The Rose and the Dagger. These were so good. If you don't already know about this series, it does take place in the Middle East. We follow our two main characters, Shahrazad and Khalid. Khalid is the Caliph of Khorasan, and he takes a wife every single night and kills them by dawn. But Shazi, our main character woman, is the first wife he takes that has first volunteered and second lives throughout the night. And she is going to avenge her best friend and trying to kill the Caliph so that he doesn't wreak any more death and destruction on their city. In the process, she figures out why he's having to do this and falls in love with him. And then it kind of turns on a 180 because everyone else still hates him, but now she understands why he's doing what he's doing and she's trying to protect him. So if you're looking for a Middle Eastern YA romance that has enemies to lovers situation to it, I definitely recommend this. I then picked up another Christina Lauren novel this year, and that was Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. This definitely has the trope of a kooky girl and a really popular hot guy that shouldn't have anything in common but then end up falling in for each other. So it had really cute ports to it, and it definitely had some laugh out loud moments. It was a cute, lighthearted read. And then last but not least, the book that I just finished was Blood and Honey by Shelby Maheran. This is the sequel to the Serpent and Dove trilogy, I believe it's going to be, because she just released that the third book will be called Gods and Monsters. If you have not heard of this series, it's about a witch and a witch hunter who have to have an arranged marriage and end up falling for each other in the process. It definitely is enemies to lovers, but we get past that in this point of the series. I don't want to go too in depth because if you haven't read the first book, you're not going to even understand one inkling I say about this. All I will say is I was a little disappointed. I think this suffered from second book syndrome because it just felt like a filler book to the third. There wasn't any real huge impactful scenes. It felt like our two main characters were constantly fighting each other, and it was just like you wanted to shake them and be like, get over it or figure yourself out, like, we get it. You're like, I don't know. It was just annoying. I know I will still pick up the third one because I think it'll tie everything together, but I don't think this one was necessary. In my opinion, this could have been a duology. I hope you guys enjoyed my recent reads video. Tell me, what have you been reading recently? Is there anything I should pick up? Let me know down in the comments below. If not, I will see you guys in my next video on next Thursday. I hope you have a great day. Bye.